What's up, good people? You got Lavelle here, aka Vell, and welcome back to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. So today, we are embarking upon another episode in regards to Darius Cooks, aka Darius Williams, aka Darius Crooks. So as some of you already know, this story is extremely personal to me because of my personal relationship at one point, who some of you know now as Darius Cooks. And because of the recent Black Enterprise article that came out on last Monday, I wanted to react to it sooner, but I needed time to process it because I honestly couldn't even get through the entire article when first reading it without having to take emotional breaks. It was really an emotional roller coaster. So I needed time to deal with it and process it so that I could actually get through a video and commentate on it without having some emotional breakdown of some sort. Although that probably would have been good for clicks and views, but we're not doing that over here. But anyway, some of that has been the fact of finding out someone that I thought I knew is nowhere near the person I thought they were, or they have this totally different dark side that I was not privy to. Yes, I know that I was scammed, but and another very close friend, but well, and a bunch of other people, but that's a whole nother story, like hundreds. But I really still thought it was more out of desperation and not that this was creating some kind of predator. So that has all, yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of that. So anyway, it has definitely been a mind F to process all of this. Like someone who I was very close to, still have affection and love for. I just really do. And I can't deny that. And I won't sit here and try to act like, you know, because of all this going down, and I am going hard with the coalition, I'm not going to act like this does not affect me or that I don't care about him, because that's just not true. It's just, I don't care how much I care about you. I am not going to co-sign your BS, and especially when you're being a predator. So that's just how I roll. I'm a different kind of, I'm ride or die when you're doing right. If you ain't doing right, yeah, you on your own. So this is one of those situations where he's on his own. And to be honest, even in the 10 years or decade or so since we haven't talked, since the thing that happened to me and others in Chicago, it was like I was still kind of riding for him because I was still kind of protecting him to a degree, because I wasn't trying to blast him in a public way. But after this all came to my attention and seeing how many layers there are to this and how deep of a rabbit hole of web of scams and just all kind of manipulation and hurting people, and really realizing this is probably going to be one of the top 5 of largest, grandest social media scams ever in history. I really feel that at this point. And so that is why I'm doing what I'm doing, along with Kitchenista and a bunch of other people in the coalition, including Sonny Anderson from the Food Network, who is also just, you know, backing us up in this coalition, in this fight to try to protect people from a predator who I once called a very close friend. So let's get into the tea, because I know that's what most of y'all are really here for anyway. You can care less about my emotions and the real life part of this situation. So get your supersized teacups ready, because there's going to be plenty of refills to come over the next few months as I continue to roll out videos to unpack this whole situation. And it is a lot. And it took 10 years for him to create this elaborate thing that we are uncovering. And so it can't be covered in one video. It just can't. Even if I really wanted to, you can never get a full scope of what this is about or what's really happening out here with one video. And so it took 10 years to do this. 10 years can't be summed up with this kind of stuff in one video. And so it won't be. And so this is going to be a series. Honestly, I haven't even gotten to the series yet, to be honest. This is like a lot of commentary stuff that I keep doing with these videos. And we'll get into that too, with his origins and my personal experiences with him. So that means you don't want to miss any of that. And so this will be a great time, if you're new to this channel, to subscribe and click that notification bell so that you'll be aware of when I post new videos. And this channel isn't just about DTW, which is what I call them, Darius T. Williams. We cover all kind of trending topics. This just happens to be one of them, and it happens to be one that I'm very close and personal to and know a hell of a lot about. So I'm going to talk about it. Also, if you are not a part of the EOV VIP text community, This would be a great time to join that as well, just by texting me at the number below. And with that, you have the ability to text me directly and we can communicate one-on-one. You'll get exclusive channel and personal updates directly from me. You'll also be a part of exclusive incentives and giveaways that will only be for the VIP community, and exclusive rights to be able to recommend topics and content and ideas for this channel. And lastly, it'll help you keep in touch because you'll be able to receive notifications of new video uploads directly from me, because we can't always rely on YouTube to do that anymore, especially if you're subscribed to 100+ channels like I am. I think I had 300 or something channels that I was subscribed to, and I started cleaning it up the other day. If they're not posting, let me quit subscribing. But anyway, if you're like me and subscribe to hundreds of channels, there's no way that YouTube is going to notify you when every single channel posts. So that's why you want to join our text community, so you can, stay in touch with the family, because we're on the move. So you want to hang on tight. Okay, but enough for housekeeping. Let's get right into this video. And I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this, but this story is now national news, and it has been brought to the attention of the national media due to Black creators in the culinary world who were exhausted with Darius's predatory practices within their field, with everything from stealing recipes from Black chefs and their intellectual property for over a decade, while trademarking their ideas and profiting from them. Longer story short, through him doing this and people getting tired of it and starting to look more into him, some of his other skeletons started to surface as well. So eventually some of the creators were able to get the attention of the media, starting with a media outlet called Southern Grit magazine. And they were the first to expose his schemes on a national level. Then the Griot publication also picked up the story. And then that was followed by Black Enterprise magazine. And that's when Darius started to run into real problems, because he was no longer able to land blast the publications as being irrelevant or some kind of gossip blog magazines to his beehive. And I should have said this a little earlier for those who have even gotten this far. This video is going to be long because, again, I'm trying to sum up a ton of stuff. So we'll see. This video is probably going to at least be an hour, at least, if not a little more. But, I'll edit as much as I can. Okay, so after this occurred, Darius had a friend who stuck her neck out to try to defend him, because she's like, this is not the Darius I know. So because by this time, Black Enterprise had then put out their first article, she reached out to people she knew, stuck her neck out for somebody she really obviously didn't know as well as she thought, that being, Darius Crooks. And let's look at a video of what happened and how we got there. Let's go.
On here because, the last time I came on live with you and I had just shampooed my hair, you remember that? The last time I did live, yeah. I came on like this. I had just shampooed my hair, and I made a cool little $60,000 from that live. So
okay,
I love how the first thing
I'm here for that. I'm here for the money.
Look, made a cool little 60 grand off of coming on live with you. So I was like, let me get in here and see what else we can do. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Well, first of all, I need to publicly thank you again, because had it not been for you, Black Enterprise would not have apologized, and they would not be rerunning the story to show and refute the truth.
Listen, it's not
I appreciate your help on that and your leadership, because I didn't even actually do it. You just decided to do it on your own.
Look, I hadn't even talked to you.
You didn't.
I didn't talk to you. All I know is that I'm getting these phone calls, and then when I got the link to Black Enterprise, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, wait a minute. So I text the man next to the damn man, and I was like, what's this? And he was like, yeah, one of our editors wrote it. I'm like, and he's like, is it true? I was like, no. And then I made a phone call. I was like, look at here. I said, first of all, this is not even journalism. This is something copied and pasted from some 2-bit. Well, I don't know much about the griot, but it gave me the media takeout vibe.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, I know him. And I've been following him. And I said, one of the most transparent influencers that I know.
Yeah.
And this is not right. And I was like, even this is not even indicative of Black enterprise. Okay. This what y'all resorting to. I know times are a little tough for, you know, for print and all of it. This is what y'all resorting to. I was like, come on now. We got to do something about this because this is not right. And so he called the number 2 man that reports to Butch himself and was like, you know, what's up with this? And after I talked to them, I was like, look, man, you all got to do better than this. Either take it down or talk to Darius directly. I said, I haven't talked to D yet, but I said, if I know him like I know him, if anybody he'll do an interview with, it's going to be Black enterprise because you all stand for something more than this in the Black community. And look, expeditiously, in my TI voice, expeditiously, they handled that thing. You know what I mean? Because they know, like, And I was like, we're not gonna get no 2-bit editor. We don't want no junior person. Give us somebody that writes for a living.
The senior.
Come on now.
That's right. Senior editor.
And she called me. Editor called me.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So you know, we have to take care of each other, D. When it's stuff like this, and I tell any detractor, any hater that has anything to say about you, I'm like, if you're not on his lives
right
at 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'm laying in the bed, one eye open, one eye closed. Because I was like, if you're not on his lives and you're not engaged with him in that intimate setting, don't come to us with the BS, man. Just stop it. Just stop it. You know. So yeah, I just did what came naturally. I wasn't about to let them. I didn't even want Black enterprise to put themselves in that mess.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I appreciate that wholeheartedly because, baby, when I tell you, it's like between a rock and a hard place.
Okay, so so much happened in that clip. So much I wanted to say. I think that this was a cautionary tale of, because I'm kind of listening to what I think her name was Lakeithia or something like that, but I'm listening to what she was saying about, you know, she's been in intimate settings with him, meaning, you know, virtually with his IG lives, and, you know, he does them, you know, 3 times plus a day, depending on the day. That doesn't mean you know someone. That does not mean you know someone, because the person she's referring to, that she feels like she knows so well virtually with what he turns on the camera to show them, or his phone to show them, is a person that I knew behind the cameras extremely well for 10 years. One-on-one time, no cameras. He wasn't even on social media when half the time I knew him, he wasn't on social media. So I know him. So this whole narrative of anyone who's not a part of his beehive doesn't know him is just not true. Just not true at all. And the truth is, for the better part of 9 of those years, probably 9.5 of those years, would have said that he's not that kind of person too, to be honest. It took him a very long time to do anything of this magnitude or, you know, level, anything that would cause distrust. I'll put it that way. I trusted him. I really, really, really trusted him in a lot of ways. So it caught me by surprise, but it shouldn't catch people who only know him virtually. Again, only when he turns on that camera do you get to really see his life. And the question is, how much of his life is he really showing you when he turns the camera on? I don't know why that's so hard for people to, like, we know people watch reality shows, and I would say the majority of us know that they're not 100% real. Like, there's some acting involved, and that doesn't mean we know everything about a person, but there are people who think they do know everything about a person because they're on a reality show. But it's for the cameras. They're putting on for the cameras, and that's what Darius is doing. And I know that because I knew him before any cameras were around, his own camera. Anyway, so what Darius then did after this, particular live with his friend is he went on the Larry Reed live show. And for those of you who don't know, and I'm gonna put a picture up, Larry Reed is a YouTuber slash, he was an ex-preacher. He had a church for 20 years. Some scandal got him basically ousted from that. He has his own scandal now with child molestation allegations, allegedly. And anyway, so Darius went on his show to be interviewed, and Darius basically spent an hour denouncing any of the allegations and taking zero accountability for anything that he's been accused of. So basically what the appearance was a meeting between friends in front of an audience. Larry Reed was girl fanning out and basically creating a narrative that everything that Darius was being accused of was a complete lie from people who were just jealous of him. Everything. Because Darius is supposedly a millionaire. And so that means that all of these allegations are true because anyone who's making an allegation is just bored and has unfulfilling lives. That's the narrative that was put out there. And then also at a certain point towards the end of the interview, I was actually brought up, and I kind of was surprised because I wasn't surprised I was brought up, but I was at a certain point I was like, well, maybe he's not going to mention me at all. Maybe he's trying to ignore that I have now come forward because I'm the person who knows him the best out of everyone who's come forward thus far. And what he did was tried to dox me on the public platform in front of his beehive as a dog whistle. And I'm not surprised. I was expecting it. I'm fully prepared for that and any, all of that. I'm prepared. And so are my friends and family in law enforcement and all that good stuff. Plus, I got my own enforcement. So we'll see. So far, it's been quiet and it probably needs to stay that way because this ain't good. And that house of cards is falling. And I don't take pleasure in his demise necessarily, but I do take pleasure in bringing this to an end so that people can heal and there will be no more victims. That I take pride in. Yes. So enough of that. Back to the Larry Reed appearance, because I'm not even calling it an interview because it wasn't an interview. Darius then goes on to repeat the narrative that Black Enterprise has apologized. So basically stay tuned because they were going to retract the article, the original article, and basically say that, they made a mistake and they don't know what they're doing and they're incompetent and Darius was right. And so, that's what he thought. So what I do know, in fact, to be true is that his friend did make such a fuss with Black Enterprise that they ended up getting the digital senior editor, who is an award-winning journalist with nearly 30 years of experience, if I'm not mistaken. It's up there for sure. She ended up getting a story. And so, yes, Darius talked to her, but what he did not realize, because he's not skilled in this area and he has no publicist, is that with them pushing back on Black Enterprise, where that article would have just kind of faded out, no one was really paying attention. What instead happened was, if they interviewed him, they didn't have to go back and interview the original accusers and ask for more evidence to prove that what they were saying was true. And so that occurred, and Kia Morgan Smith, who is the writer and / digital editor at Black Enterprise, interviewed lots of people, including myself, and asked for receipts from lots of people, including myself, and we all provided them. So let's see. This is all now, this literally behind the scenes. That's what y'all here for. Behind the scenes, literally, I'm watching this Larry Reed live show and texting with the editor, setting up a time to interview with her after this little show was over. So, whereas Darius is thinking, hey, this is, I'm in a clear, I've smoked and mirrored my way out of this. It was actually just digging him a bigger hole. And so it was very interesting to be watching him do that, but also knowing behind the scenes what was really happening and what was really going to happen on Monday. That was, that was interesting. So anyway, I am rambling. I don't know. I'm oversharing maybe, but anyway, let's watch what occurred on the Larry Reed show.
For Black Enterprise to redo the story, it was because one of my followers reached out and said, I know people at Black Enterprise, this isn't right. Black Enterprise is they apologize, they're rerunning the story on Monday, and then that's it.
So yes, they're going to apologize, and that's it. Okay, so let's get into the actual article from Black Enterprise. It is very long, but it was necessary to be this long because of the fact that they're trying to cover 10 years of scamming. And honestly, she couldn't even quite put it all in here. We had a conversation about that as well. So there'll be more to come. She had to try to get as much as she could in and also kind of summarize it because it couldn't be, and it's long, but it couldn't be any longer than this. So we have, I think nearly, I don't know, 40 slides or more, but I'm gonna try to read really quick. I'm gonna read as quick as I can, people. But again, remember, this is a longer video. Treat it like a podcast, you know, do chores, driving a car, whatever you want to do. But you can have this playing in the background. Let's make this happen. All right, let's start with the article from Black Enterprise where they are going to retract their original article about Darius being a scammer and all the accusations. Because of course, you know, we all know that Black Enterprise magazine is a gossip magazine and they don't research stuff. Yeah, according to Darius, you know, now that's what he's saying. First he was, you know, giving high regards to who was going to be writing the article, but you know, we can only push what it aligns with our narrative. And so this no longer aligns with his narrative. And let's find out why. All right, let's go. It says, in an exclusive interview with Black Enterprise culinary guru, I don't know about no guru, Darius Cooks Williams addresses the blistering allegations leveled against him that range from stealing money, illegal credit repair practices, bullying Black women, ripping off business partners, that would be me, and reportedly scamming so many people that it garnered the hashtag Darius Crooks. That's all true. Next part. Williams, a popular former restaurateur, rose to fame as a Chicago-based food blogger. He appeared on Food Network as a guest, and he's a prolific cookbook author who started with a cupcake shop and parlayed it into several multi-million-dollar businesses and restaurants from Chicago to Atlanta. While Williams has flourished online, as evident by his 3 million plus followers across Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, coupled with his lively cooking demos and mail order Carolina pound cakes, lately he's been under fire and with damning accusations of engaging in deceptive business practices and running scams that have left people high and dry. That's all true. There are varying degrees of allegations leveled against him that also include claims of harassment and credit card fraud. And there's momentum kicking up online from people like Celebrity Food Network star Sonny Anderson and popular food aficionado Angela the Kitchenista Davis, who have been scooping stories, cracking open dozens of cases, and whipping up witnesses. I love how she's using the food analogies and whipping up witnesses that say they too have been bamboozled in one way or another by the popular chef. So here's a tweet here. It says, this one is from the Kitchenista. She's definitely been a catalyst and at the lead of this coalition, this movement to stop Darius Crooks. So she says, another customer of @Darius Cooks who got blocked on all social media platforms after asking for a $500 refund for a year. So this ain't large enough. And we'll get into all of this like with the various businesses, because again, this is a lot and it can't all be summed up in one little video, even if it's an hour long. So anyway, this particular person is saying he definitely scammed. Now, this was a customer we have here. So this is, you know, he's asking for receipts and all this stuff. There's a person, his full name here. Says he definitely scammed me and is still trying to charge me for a failed business of his. After taking the proper procedures to cancel the affiliation, Carolina Pound Cakes is still trying to charge me monthly. Better Business Bureau, US, please shut this man down. Yeah, the Better Business Bureau, that's a whole nother story. They ain't as effective as you would hope. Anyway, last year, Williams businesses Soul Crab Atlanta and Soul Crab Chicago, as well as Greens and Gravy in Atlanta, abruptly closed. Williams was also involved in an illegal credit repair business that the state of Georgia ordered him to pay $145,750 as a settlement agreement. That's all true. To that claim, Williams, and so these are her now, she interviewed Darius herself. This is not her taking quotes from other people. This is from conversations she had with him that are recorded. And so let's go. She says, to that claim, Williams says simply, I paid $140. It's over and everything is cool, he told Black Enterprise. He continued, I think they're pulling from that, saying, oh, he's a scammer. But it's like, no, the people who were on the roster, their credit scores increased, he contends. Also not true. And we're also not just talking about this credit repair thing. This is it's one of the most recent scams, but it ain't the only one. Nope. By no means this is the only one. So no, we're not talking about that. And this is a lie about all the people's credit scores increasing. And so he's saying that, you know, we're confused and we're calling him a scammer because of the fact that from this whole credit repair thing. No, that is not it. That is one of the scams and one of the more recent ones, not even the recent one. That is not what we're talking about. We know what the hell we're talking about. And his argument or statement about all of the credit scores increasing is just not true. I spoke with someone last week who never even heard from you in a year. And they only got their money back. They got their money back from the state when the state made you settle. Person said they had forgot they even signed up with you and you didn't do nothing for them. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Why am I giving that away? But we got more people, it don't matter. Anyway, so what else? So then it goes on to say, however, ignited online after Southern Grit magazine ran a damaging story recently that outlined a number of claims from former employees, Anderson and the Kitchenista, all alleged that Williams is a charismatic con artist who capitalized off of them and shook up their lives and ruined the lives of many others. Hashtag true. Okay, so then it goes on to say, Anderson said angry people who had their credit cards overcharged confirmed her thinking she was... So then it goes on to say, Anderson said angry people who had their credit cards overcharged confronted her thinking she was entangled with the Fresh Go delivery business with Williams, which he denies he ever owned. The Kitchenista said Williams has resorted to bullying, and she said he used her trademark name for profit, which he confirmed he did out of spite. Also, a growing consensus of people online allege that they have been retaliated against by Williams for speaking out about his deceptive practices. Even in this article, several people spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear that if they revealed their name, they would risk being doxxed or harassed by Williams or his faithful followers, also known as the D Hive. That's what they call themselves. In fact, the editor-in-chief of Southern Grits magazine, Joshua Fitzwater, went live this past Saturday to address the percolating bloodlust from Williams' online community, who have reportedly issued threats against veteran reporter Deb Freeman after she broke the initial story about Williams that picked up traction from other news outlets, including Black Enterprise. This is true. They have a history of doing this. This is why Darius is trying to get people to reveal the sources by first and last name so then they can be harassed by people. But we know that game, and so we're not playing that game. And here is the editor-in-chief that she was speaking of from Southern Grit and what he had to say about Darius Williams and this story that they originally broke.
Recently, there's been some things posted about Deb Freeman's article in regards to the Darius Williams, aka Darius Cooks, situation that's going on online. So let me just start by saying that everything in our article is substantiated. It is meticulously researched. Everything that she wrote, there was no opinion. And so and that's the way it's supposed to be when you do journalism. That's the way real journalism is done, as much as real journalism doesn't exist anymore in the world. You're supposed to be objective. You're supposed to back up, anything that would be put forth, but she didn't put forth anything.
All right. So we hear directly from the editor-in-chief of Southern Grit magazine that, they just reported the facts. They have no personal vested interest in this. They have no reason to embellish or lie. And so that's how we got where we are. Let's see what else the article has to say. I told y'all this long. We're still in it. Okay, so this is Deb Freeman's tweet. She's the first reporter to break this story, and we greatly appreciate her for putting this out on the national platform. So she says, massive thank you to Southern Grit's editor-in-chief for going on record to support the article I wrote on Darius Williams. So that was her response to her boss, stepping out to say, hey, this ain't no lie. This is the truth. No matter what, smoke and mirrors Darius throwing up for y'all. All right, let's see. What's next? They say, despite their concerns, Williams says, I am not a bully. He defends his character and his business against a barrage of what he considers to be untruthful claims. Everybody's lying. but him. That's so funny. Like, you got thousands of people lying but you. Okay, anyway, I think what is happening, it's the people who may not be familiar with my brand because of some of the hate mail I'm getting. You know, stop abusing black women, keep your hands off black women. And I'm openly gay, but I don't come across as gay, he explains. What that has to do with abusing black women, I have no idea. Please help me understand, people. In the comment section or in our text community, help me understand, what does the two have to do with anything? Like, gay men can be abusive to women. Anyway, goes on to say, so my speech and my mannerisms look to be that of a straight man, he said, unless you know him behind the scenes, but that's a whole nother story. He says, so I lost my place. Let me reread it. I need to quit acting up here. Okay, so he says, my speech, my mannerisms look to be that of a straight man, he said. So if you're not familiar with me and you just see my content, you would automatically assume black man hitting on a black woman. Would you? Just because you said black man, you think he hit on women? Okay, anyway. In reality, I'm openly gay. I talk about sex and a lot of stuff on my Instagram. I talk about dating. I talk about things women want to discuss, like I'm their best friend. Very true. He overshares a great deal, and he does appear like their best friends and some of their boyfriends and some of their husbands, depending on the comments that you see that they're making. For some of these women, he is a part of their daily life. That's part of the manipulation that many of them are not seeing. They're very invested because this person is a part of their lives. And so all of this stuff that is true that is coming out, it's hard for them to believe because they don't want to lose that. And I get it. I didn't want to lose him as a friend, but I knew what he did to me and I knew what he did to others. Well, I found out after what he did to me, what he did to others. All right, so let's continue. I'm already getting tired of this article. Maybe because I read it already a couple times. No, did I read it? No. Yeah, I did read it a couple times because I had to do this part with it. So yeah, anyway, for y'all's sake, I'm gonna push through. Let's see where we at. I don't want to mess up. All right. And so then it goes on to say, and it's that intoxicating personality that has earned the Chicago native his large following with black women who consider him to be the boyfriend bae next door. Very true. This says William wrapped in chocolately smooth, sun-kissed skin and has an infectious Cheshire cat grin. He has made a name for himself in a competitive foodie space of online chefs, having been self-taught to burn in the kitchen by hanging close to his grandmother's hips. Story about that too. We'll get into that later. But Sunny Anderson, who is saddled with remorse for introducing Williams to her international Food Network audience on her show, Cooking for Real, says, don't be fooled by the snake oil salesman. This is a tweet from Sunny where she says, if you want to know the truth about why I'm outing a scammer, it's because I'm sorry I plucked him from Blogspot obscurity to be on my show a decade ago, and he took that opportunity and used it to scam, period. Not an IG post, nor jealousy, just remorse for giving him any light. I get that. A lot of us in those beginning days, because Sunny was around for the first major scheme, and that is how she got involved. And we'll get into the origins of that at some point, I guess. I don't know if I covered that here or not. But anyway, yes, that is it. And pretty much it's the same for me. Like, I regret, not that I had a platform, so I regret not being louder, but the truth is I probably wouldn't have been heard still because I wasn't on social media like that. I was on Facebook, and those were just friends and family who, for the most part, many of them already knew about about him, really. Like, Chicago kind of knew, especially people who follow him. Well, the people who knew him closely, I'll say that much. They all knew. So it wasn't like I could really get to the masses and say, hey, watch out for who's coming your way. So that's a little bit of why I'm doing it now, because I have a platform that I did not have a decade ago, and help with other people with platforms that didn't, they didn't have platforms decades ago, but they didn't know them either. That's a whole nother story. I'm rambling. All right, let's go. I'm getting tired of it. Y'all know my voice changes. I get a little attitude though. Let's go. What's the next? Now we're talking about the former employee's claims Williams left them high and dry. It says, during a lengthy interview, Williams addressed one particular accusation that he abused a former employee by the name of Kiera Ross, who worked at his now shuttered Soul Crab Atlanta restaurant as a server. Ross took to social media to share her story after Angela, the kitchenista, posted a laundry list of claims about Williams after the two had beef online. Ross wrote that Williams abused her and tried to drag her from the restaurant after she confronted him about her paycheck. The cops were called and a police report was filed. Now this is the tweet from Kiara. She says, "This man is a con artist. I was a server at his seafood restaurant in Atlanta, and he got arrested for putting his hands on me after I had a fit after he didn't pay me. After working for him almost a month, I still never got paid." So it goes on to say, it says, "This is an account from Kiara, a former server at Soul Crab. The photo shows at Darius Crooks. I'm sorry. The photo shows at Darius Cooks, aka Darius Williams, being escorted away by cops on July 25th of 2019. A text message to the daytime manager at Soul Crab, Kiwan, reflects that Kiara was still following up on her paycheck a month after the incident. As of today, she has not been paid." So that was 2019. We are in 2021. That was 2 years ago. Craziness. And her check wasn't that much from what I have heard. It's crazy. But he's a multimillionaire. Anyway, continue. Kiara's account. "I was a server at his seafood restaurant in Atlanta. He got arrested for putting his hands on me after I had a fit after he didn't pay me for working for almost a month. I still never got paid." She then says, "This is the same man who got on IG Live last week and called me unhinged. I will not let this go. I don't care how many people are bothered that I took 1 week out of a whole year to shed light on something way more important than recipes. The allegations are piling up of scams, outstanding refunds, and now physical assault against a Black woman. When will somebody report on it?" So then they're asking, "Please reach out if you or anyone you know can help Kiara get some legal advice or assistance. Thank you." Yes, definitely. Hopefully someone can help her, finally get paid. And it's other people out there too. That's a whole another piece of it. To have all those employees, he closed right away, said that he was going to pay everyone and did not. Okay, next. Says, "Williams said he didn't know Ross when she confronted him about her coins." This is a quote directly from Darius. He said, "I didn't know her. My first time ever meeting her or seeing her in my life was this particular Friday when I walked into the restaurant, and when I walked in, she was very irate and she said, 'Where's my MFing check?' he said." Williams said he had 3 restaurants, 110 employees, and was unaware of any personal issues with Ross. He's quoted as saying, "I'm not running the day-to-day of the restaurant. I'm doing more strategy, more CEO work. So I had managers who would hire all of the employees. And so we have an electric payroll system called Gusto, and Kiara never completed her onboarding." He explained as the reason for why she didn't receive her paycheck. Now, what I find that is interesting with this particular piece is it's 2 parts. For one, Darius has admitted on video that he does his own payroll. No one else does the payroll. So you're responsible. And it's a day-to-day piece of the business that you're responsible for. So it is your responsibility, and that's why she's coming to you about her check. The other piece is when he says in here that her onboarding was not completed. That's not on her. That's not on the employee. I have managed staff in corporate America. I have run my own businesses with employees, and I have never started an employee without onboarding. You got to fill out those documents because you never know. They may come for 1 day of work and never show back up. And I've had that happen. People accept a job and come and then get a new job and never, show up. But they still got to get that day of pay from when they showed up. And if they're gone and you never had them fill out the paperwork, even a couple days in, then what happens? And she's saying she worked for a month. What's the excuse? What kind of business are you running where your employees are there for a full month and have not completed their employment documentation for emergency purposes, for tax purposes? Is a litany of reasons why that is just not okay. And that falls on you as a business owner. And I ain't gonna even say just his management staff, because we know that Darius did really control the purse strings of these businesses and still does today. Like, he's pretty much a one-man show. I think these restaurants were pretty much the only time we can say that he kind of had employees, but he still controlled that stuff. So this goes on to say, Williams said he was the one who called the police. So the story goes, after the officer arrives, Williams said the confrontation escalated, and he alleged even after Ross was warned by the officers not to go back inside his restaurant, she did, and they put her in handcuffs and put her in a car and took her away. What she said to the officer was, he put his MFing hands on me. So the officer was like, did you? And I was like, I actually don't know because it happened so fast. And so let's look at the camera. Let's see what I did. There's probably another time where he's talking so much and incriminating himself. He does that a lot if you pay attention. It says, Williams said he reviewed the video footage with the officer and admits, so I did put my hands on her, but I put both hands on her shoulders to kind of turn her so we could go discuss this outside. So the extent of the quote unquote abuse is basically me putting two hands on her shoulders so that we could go outside, Williams admits. So you touched her. And I don't think it was a gentle, if somebody's yelling at you and your tempers are flaring, I don't think that was a gentle, you moving her. Like, oh, come on, can we go outside and talk? Yeah, that wasn't happening. That was not happening. Do y'all think that was happening? Okay, what's next? It says, he says, although there's a picture circulating showing him walking alongside an officer, Williams said he was never formally arrested and charged. Although Williams dismissed the dust-up with Ross as an isolated incident, a former employee explained that Soul Crab Atlanta was dysfunctional in more ways than one. I can imagine. A former employee who was the kitchen manager at Soul Crab Atlanta, who spoke to Black Enterprise on the condition of anonymity, said that she ran Soul Crab Atlanta for Williams and experienced hell and even had to take money out of her own pocket to keep up operations. Totally believe this based on a lot of stuff I've learned. The employee explained that Soul Crab Atlanta was so dirty and rat infested that it couldn't pass several state inspections. The employee said she worked hard with the crew to keep things above board for inspections while Williams was away on vacation, but still couldn't get it up to code because he cut corners. I know this to be a fact. I knew him very well. Had a business dealing with him even at the time of his cupcake shop. And I had to do some things to make that pass health inspection. So yes, that's not his wheelhouse. He is not a clean person. He's junky, very junky. I think the only reason his house is clean now because he got housekeeping. But it ain't clean like if you look in his room and stuff. But anyway, next. The kitchen manager goes on to say, I'm patching up stuff. I got my whole crew in there on Monday cleaning and doing everything. And Darius is on vacation in Dubai. And literally, I'm in charge of the whole damn restaurant with 30 freaking employees, and you in Dubai, and we've got a major inspection tomorrow, and you're overseas, the anguished former employee said. Yeah, so I heard about this as well, where he was in Dubai, and that particular restaurant was having, actually, I think all his restaurants were having major health. Yes, all of the restaurants were having major health inspection issues. This is still the kitchen manager, and they're saying he was so focused on getting Soul Crab Chicago going, not realizing that Soul Crab Atlanta was failing. She said, we serve people and we have a rep problem, she admits. Wow. Rets. Wow. Yeah. Okay. The employee explained that as the storm was brewing inside the restaurant with the state on the case and angling to shut the grimy food spot down, her only option was to talk to Williams through Skype and video message. And so when the people, meaning health inspectors, came in, they failed, she said. His license wasn't up to par. He owed almost $25,000 to the light department. So when they handed me the letter saying that lights was getting ready to cut off, $25K or we were cutting the lights, I told my crew to go home and cut them off. Wow. Can you imagine? I mean, this is so much, y'all. It's so much. And we only talking about one restaurant right now. Jesus. She continues, he's done so many people wrong. That karma is biting his A right now. He's left so many people stuck. Not just Soul Crab Atlanta. You left Soul Crab Chicago stuck. You left Greens and Gravy stuck. 3 restaurants. You left them people with no paychecks for months. It took them threatening to sue you before you even gave them an allowance because it wasn't their full paycheck. So you gave them whatever the hell you wanted to give them. To hell with my payroll, hell with everything. Wow, y'all. Whew. We still got a lot. I don't even think we're at the halfway mark. This video gonna be long as F. Okay, let's continue though. For those of y'all who don't want to read it yourself, I want to get through the whole thing. It's a lot. Another former employee who was a line cook at Soul Crab Atlanta, who also spoke on a condition of anonymity, says she had 2 children who were 5 and 17 years old at the time, and she was left nearly homeless after Williams shuttered Soul Crab Atlanta suddenly. I literally had to move out of my place and go stay with somebody, she said. I went from being a line cook to shift leader making good money to having nothing. It's bad, y'all, bad. Let's go. The former employee asked how he didn't do wrong when he just closed his business at 5 o'clock in the morning when I was literally getting ready for work. Another former employee of Williams took to social media and complained, saying she used to bake his Carolina pound cakes and ship them and worked in poor conditions while earning mere pennies. Oh, y'all, let's see. Okay, so this is Darius's ex-baker. She said he paid her pennies after she baked the cakes, treated her bad. The bakery was nasty, would make her get the supplies of 50-pound bags of sugar, eggs out of his car. So this is a video. She actually did a live. And what I'm going to do for this, like, as even before this article came out, I knew that there was no way I could just sum all these businesses up in one video. It's going to be like a video, to cover each business, or at least, in some cases it could probably be two together if the rabbit hole don't go too deep. Some of them, it goes a lot deeper than others. So this, I won't bother. Basically, I said all that to say I'm not going to play this particular clip because that's going to be a part of, when we start talking about that particular Carolina pound cake company is what it's called. So then we get to this one where it says more employees have taken to social media to air out their grievances and sour experiences with Williams. Okay, yeah. So this is actually from the baker. And just for the sake of time, I'm not going to read this particular text. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, people. I'm going to put it up here, but I'm not going to read all of this, but I'll have it here. You guys can pause it, and hopefully it's large enough for you to see, because I'm straining a little bit even with my glasses on. But this is an actual, this is a message. It looks like a DM. Yeah, it looked like a DM from the baker. And, this is her actual message. So, yeah, you can read that. Again, we're going to cover that in a future video. Let's see what's next. And for the sake of time, I'm trying to skip through some of this, I think. We'll see. Like some of the evidence, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. It says Williams cited in an online statement that he was dealing with mental health issues and other health factors that contributed to the closing of his restaurant. But the former Soul Crab kitchen manager determined that was a lie. I feel like Maury Povich. That was a lie. You are the father of this scam, Darius. Okay, so it says, it was none of that, the former kitchen manager said. Yes, so this is Kitchenista, who, again, she's pulling all of the receipts. So her tweet says, Above 701 website still appears to be operating with a note that it is not offering services to GA. So for those of you who are not familiar, Above 701 is the illegal credit repair company that Darius opened in Georgia. Well, did he open it in Georgia? Anyway, he was running it in Georgia, and that was illegal. So that's how he ended up owing a settlement amount was 140 some odd thousand. Yeah, so that's how he got to that point. That's how we got there. That's the illegal act that created that situation. All right, let's see what's next. So then Angela continues on by tweeting, in quote, citing mental health as a reason for restaurants shut down, despite the state of Georgia forcing him to close businesses that same week. As someone who deals with mental illness firsthand, it is particularly gross if this was a way to detract. Okay, so let's see. Says the Better Business Bureau. So now, I hope y'all still with me because I'm losing myself. I think because I read it before. I think that's the issue, because I read it before and I know all of this and it's like an everyday thing at this point. But anyway, now we're getting into the 701 chapter of all of this, the credit repair business, because it's levels to this, people. It's levels. All right. So this says the Better Business Bureau and Above 701 credit repair complaints. So let me take that down. So it's interesting that Darius claims that there are 0 complaints in regards to the credit repair, and everyone's scores went up. So besides him illegally starting a company in the state of Georgia, other than that, the business was ran up to par. Now, if that was the case, I don't think we would be reading what we're about to read, because that just doesn't make sense, because that's how the state got alerted. It's from all these Better Business Bureau Above 701 credit repair complaints. And then they was like, hell, Wait a minute, it shouldn't be even existing. So let's read what they had to say. So let's read about this part. However, some people have lodged Better Business Bureau complaints against Williams and say those grievances have fallen flat because he refuses to provide a physical address to the Better Business Bureau and won't verify his account. Therefore, the Bureau can't address concerns. Hiding in plain sight. That's what he does. What's next? Says Williams admit. So he, yeah, okay. Let me continue reading. Not too much commentary in between. Okay, it says Williams admits that he doesn't answer Better Business Bureau complaints and explains that he is unwilling to do so for a number of reasons. Because of the fraud. And you get caught up quicker. The government would notice quicker. They're going to report it. He says, so I typically don't respond to Better Business Bureaus only because there's so much more that goes on along with it. Right? Williams begins, like running a legitimate business and being held accountable, maybe. Let's see what other BS he's shoveling. Let's keep on. Okay, he goes on to say, people say, I didn't get my refund, and I refund to the credit card that's on file. The credit card or debit card that was on file belongs to a bank that either they are no longer with or they owe the bank money and the bank is recouping their funds. That's happened quite a few times where people maybe have overdrawn an account and they're like, I never got my refund. So those are some of the issues. You got to call the manufacturer or whoever the card issuer is to deal with that. That's typically what it's been, he said. He goes on to say, this is what happens when you run a multi-million-dollar organization. You just get all kind of ish that just comes, man. So you're going to tell me every complaint is somebody with an overdrawn bank account or some kind of credit card or debit card issue? It's going to be on a mass level. Like these people, you're going to point this out to these people and then they're still going to report it to the Better Business Bureau. Not making sense. Not making sense at all. So the writer goes on to say, when asked why would people make widespread allegations of fraud if there is none, Williams responded, what I would like to know is the first and last name of people making these claims. When I go live, I say, if you've been scammed, what is your first and last name so we can deal with how you've been scammed? Nobody comes forward, he says. Here I am, and you already know my first and last name. Plus, these people commenting, they have their first and last names on the. This is BS. Just BS. BS. And it's dog whistle as well. Again, he wants these first and last names so the D-Hive can then do what they know they're supposed to do when these things happen, which is shut the person down. The problem is when people have a large platform, you can't really do that. But the one-off situations with a disgruntled ex-D-Hiver who got scammed and so now they're putting up a little smoke, they shut them down. He blocks them, then he doxes them by telling their information, and then the D-Hive goes after them. And so that's one person, they don't really have no platform, they don't have no voice, they gone. And it's getting very hard to do that because it's so many people coming out at this point. For one, can't control that many people, but then the other piece is some of the people in the forefront of this have platforms that you can't just shut down like that. Like you can't silence us. So yeah, guess the chickens have come home to roost. Getting closer. Jesus. All right. Okay. Let's try it. Let's go. If you go on my platform, nobody is complaining that they didn't get their books. That is a flat out that's a flat out effing lie. It's hard to read some of this stuff. Oh my God. What is going on here? Okay. Let me start over. I'm sorry. Oh Jesus, that's a lot. If you go on my platform, nobody is complaining that they didn't get their book. Nobody is complaining that they didn't get their cake. Nobody is complaining that their credit score didn't increase, he said. To be honest with you, the Kitchenista and Sonny Anderson are looking at public records. They are looking at consent judgments for above 701, misrepresenting that and saying he scammed people. And the consent judgment doesn't say he scammed anybody. He did the work. Their credit cards definitely increased. He just shouldn't have been doing it in the state of Georgia. So as a settlement, this is the amount we are going to charge him. Lies. Just flat out lies. Even on the judgment, it states that he was forced also to close his businesses. Like they took his business licenses in Georgia. So that's why he had to close. Well, they closed Greens and Gravy and Soul Crab Atlanta. And I think he closed Chicago, like he wasn't forced to close that one, but I think he just closed it because he couldn't, funnel the money and do all the other stuff. Allegedly, I don't know. I kind of know, but I don't know. Allegedly. So yeah, it looks like he just closed it because it's kind of like, okay, that's one business and it's in another state from where he lived. So that was a lot. Okay, what's next? Let's continue. So it says, contrary to Williams' claim that he did not scam people, the state of Georgia, they're going into what I just said. The state of Georgia concluded that he did, and not only reprimanded Williams for running an illegal credit repair business called Above 701, but in the complaint cited that Williams' company further violated Georgia law by requesting and accepting payments from consumers for its credit repair services before those services were provided, and making misleading claims that it could get bankruptcies and debts permanently deleted from consumer credit reports without adequately disclosing that negative credit information cannot be erased from a consumer's credit report if the information is accurate. That is true. Okay, so then we move on to the next thing, which is Sonny Anderson and Williams Fresh Go controversy. Anderson claims that Williams had a Fresh Go business where it promised to deliver fresh vegetables on the doorsteps of customers, but people bombarded her with angry messages claiming they were ripped off and overcharged on their credit cards. They hit up Anderson because she had him on her show years ago. I know this to be factual because I was around. This is the first scam I heard of. Yeah, well, no, this is technically the second one. Actually, it was the third one. Jesus. The first one was like corporate level, so I was kind of like, lessons learned. Oh, who knew? Okay, so Anderson says she gave Williams the benefit of the doubt, but she said he refused to answer her inquiries. The bottom line is, before me, no one on TV knew of him, and he didn't have a platform to build what he has built. Just imagine if you could do it the right way. With the talent and ability to galvanize people, why wouldn't you want to do it the right way, she asked. Sonny, that is the same question that I have been asking. I think a lot of us have been asking, because it is very clear and evident based on what he's been able to do with these alleged scams. I think I have to say at this point, I guess. I don't know. Some of them is just, all right, we got everything we need. Okay, but it's clear that because he was able to pull that off, he was able to do this, that he would also be able to run legitimate businesses. Not all by himself. That's part of his problem too. He's trying to do everything himself. But he has the intelligence to be able to pull it off, and the, charisma and stuff, like you said, to galvanize people. And I think that was really part of the reason why, I mean, it's a layers of reasons why I didn't come out a decade ago. And part of it was because, in my mind, some of what he did to us and did in general, I thought was out of desperation to survive in a way. And he was like desperate to succeed. And a part of me kind of thought that he would stop once he actually made it. Like, okay, he's just desperate. It's kind of like, all bets are off. And he started saying, like, right around that time, right before the ish really hit the fan with us, it's not personal, it's business, which was offensive, because it was always personal first for me with him, and then business took a back seat to it because I didn't charge him for all the stuff I could have, but he wouldn't have paid no way, so we would have fell out earlier. Probably he would have saw no use for me. But yeah, because of that, and because I saw the talent, and because I really truly wanted him to win, and it had nothing to do with me wanting to ride anybody coattails, because I got my own purpose, passions, always have my own stuff. But I like to see my friends, my family, those who I love, and people in general. Hell, that's what we do on this platform. I like to see everyone succeed and all of that. And so, especially a person I knew very personally, intimately, all that good stuff, I wanted to see him win. And so, yeah, although he did me wrong, and again, a bunch of other people, I still wasn't trying to like blow his spot up per se. I just was kind of hoping that, he would grow from it in a way. And it's not what it really just, in my opinion, emboldened him to do more, because he kept getting away with it, and he kept running into the same kind of people over and over, being able to scam the same kind of people over and over, which were people who didn't really want all the drama, didn't want the smoke, behind it. And at a certain point, he got big enough to squash people, even if they were even if they did have a vengeance or really wanted to, hold him accountable, he had at that point a platform where he could shut people down. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's enough of my soapbox moment. Let's see what else they had to say. So it says, Anderson said she took part in a Zoom meeting organized by the Kitchenista with other Black women chefs and was floored by what she heard. She's quoted as saying, a lot of Black women who are eager to get their careers started are being taken advantage of. One person on the call had direct dealings with him, and we were all just crying, she shared. Last year, Anderson said when she posted that people should beware when dealing with Williams because of his scams, she said he and his attorney sent a cease and desist letter that she countered with a letter from her attorney stating that since the Attorney General found that he was engaged in illegal credit repair activities, Anderson had the right to call him a scammer on her platform to describe him. Checkmate. Yeah, you can't do cease and desist, or you really just have no legal. You can really send them for anything, really. However, you have no legal standing if it's true, which is part of the reason why he ain't giving us no smoke on this stuff, because it's true. Now he'll put out a different narrative like he did on Larry Reed that, you got to prove that you lost money due to what they did. But the truth is, if it was true, the statements, then we have attorneys too. All right, next. In retaliations, Williams sold his cookbooks with the discount code Sunny and bad wig, she said. Even though Anderson said people approached her about his Fresh Go business, Williams proclaimed that he has no ties to Fresh Go, doesn't know what it is, and never had any affiliations with it. Lie, 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 and lie. Because again, I was around during that time. I remember when he was starting it. Yeah, it was all kind of stuff out there. Yeah, I remember this very well because I was kind of like, you finna try to compete with Peapod? Like, what? How you gonna do that? Like, you ain't got that kind of money. And back then he really didn't have any money. So, but now I see why he thought he could do it, because it wasn't no business. It's like, yeah, it's all a facade. But go ahead. Next. So this is a quote from Darius to the reporter. He says, I have no idea what she's talking about, Williams said about Fresh Go, which is also referred to as Fresh To Go and Fresh Go Now. He said, I had a cupcake shop and I had a pie shop. That's true too, but you have other businesses. Don't play with us. He said, Williams said he believes Anderson is jealous of him after he claims producers wanted him to do more shows. So again, everyone is jealous of him. You're either jealous of his wealth or you're jealous of his platform. Never does it have anything to do with him. And I just don't understand why he feels like Sunny is jealous when she's the one. Well, he doesn't feel that for real. Like, I don't know what this is. Smoke and mirrors. But she's the one who put him on her platform. So if she was threatened by people in general, him, why would she put him on her television show? And multiple times, I might add. The only reason it stopped was because of the scams. She found out about that. That's what ended that relationship. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's continue to read, because I'm telling too much as I'm reading, because I know too much about this silliness or horrible situation. I don't even know. Can I call it silly? Only he's silly. Anyway, Anderson denies that and says she is the one who put him on and only wanted to see him succeed, but had to cut ties when people associated her with his fraudulent companies. Anderson said nobody got food with Fresh Go, and instead people complained of small incremental unauthorized charges. I am aware of this. This is true, because I remember when this happened back in the day. Now this wouldn't be in the article, and I'm giving some stuff away that I'll be repeating probably because of the fact that everybody's not watching everything, and this video is so damn long, I'm sure most people have checked out. So anyway, during that time with Fresh Go, well, once he left, because he escaped to New York, he ran away. When he ran away, then it came out what had occurred, like that it was a scam, and like we like, oh, that's why he left, like in the middle of the day where everybody wasn't paying attention, everybody at work. So I ended up getting a link. Somebody sent me a link. It was to a website, and it was a bunch of posts from people, various customers, and they were from all over the place. And so they were saying, like, it was just a bunch of random comments like, I didn't get my, like, I got charged $80-something. I got charged $90-something. I called and, he's a fraud and blah, 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 and this and that. And so it was like just complaint after complaint after complaint. And all the charges were like, nearly all the charges were between the $80 and $90-something range. I don't know if he did that for, legal reasons like criminal issues. I'm not a criminal, so I don't know how that stuff works. Or if he did it because maybe he was assuming the kind of people he was charging, maybe they wouldn't notice those smaller amount. Well, for them, maybe it was a smaller amount. But I don't know what his reasoning is. Maybe he'll tell us one day when he finally gets completely, exposed where he can't. I don't know. I think he's gonna deny for the rest of his life. Yeah, it just looks that way at this point. Okay, so let's see what's next. It says Black Enterprise followed up and asked Williams directly. So now at this point, they talked to Darius. He said, she was a liar, saying Sonny was lying. The reason she stopped being his friends because she was jealous that he was going to take her job on TV, even though she had been on TV years and had her own shows by the time. Yeah, she was jealous. So that's why they cut ties. Sonny then said, no, it's because of this fraudulent company. And people, because he had been on my show, thought I had something to do with it. And so I had to cut ties because I didn't want to be associated with that. So then Black Enterprise went back to Darius and said what Sonny said to his original thing about her being jealous of him. So let's see what Darius had to say. So Black Enterprise followed up and asked Darius Williams directly, do you know anything about Freshco being associated with you? Nothing, Williams replied. He continued, oh my God, this is sound like a scammer. He continues, really, that's what I'm saying. That's why I would love to know from Sonny what I ever did to her. So Sonny's making this up. She's just bored with her successful career on television for over a decade. She gonna mess with you. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, this is oh God. This is how I felt reading. I wasn't laughing, I was crying, honestly. Yeah, I was really crying. Wow. I guess you got to go down with the ship. I guess this is really what it is. Just got to go down with the ship. He's going down with the ship. He's determined. He ain't gonna admit no wrongdoing. Do you give him credit for that? I don't think it's right, but I don't know. He knows everything will come crashing down if he admits it too. Like instantly, it's slowly doing it. Ain't gonna do it anyway, but I think he just, yeah. So sad. All right, back to this. What happens next? That's why I would love to know from Sonny what I ever did to her. And the writer says, after further investigation, the Kitchenista provided a 2012 screenshot of Darius Williams promoting Freshco, saying, it's a really great day to shop Freshco, back in 2012. Yeah, because he was all on Twitter posting everything. I remember this very clearly. So let's see. So this here is actually a screenshot of, this is actually a screenshot of a tweet from Darius saying it's the, great day to, shop Freshco or whatever. So this is him. This is got a little profile picture there and everything. And you can see it larger. I'll put the link of the Black Enterprise article in the description area below so you can actually see this yourself. So, for the naysayers to be like, I couldn't even see that. That don't mean nothing. Every receipt wasn't clear. No, it's clear. It's very clear in the article. It's just what I'm using to display it for you guys right here, that it's not as clear, but you can see it there. And then we have here where Darius is sending out a letter to his customers about an issue with Groupon. That's a whole nother thing. There was some issues with Groupon for this particular company, but there were also some other issues with other companies he tried to use Groupon with, to the point that, they weren't dealing with him no more. So anyway, you see here, because again, remember Darius is claiming, where it's circled below here in red, Darius is claiming that he had nothing to do with this company whatsoever. So there's Darius there. That's his name. This Cheryl, Gail, and Mike, people that did not exist. And I remember, I do remember that because somebody sent that to me or something. Because I at that point, by the point he was actually physically doing this, we weren't talking. He had already kind of scammed us. So he was still in Chicago and I would see him here or there, and he lived in a friend's building. So I would see him here and there at events, and he wasn't talking to, it wasn't just me and the other friend, it was a group of us, and he wasn't talking to any of us because he knew what he did. So he was kind of, hiding, ducking out a little bit and being bashful around us. That was not a cool time. That hurt. Anyway, yes. So this was, clearly you know, him. And again, somebody's going to say, well, that just says Darius. There's more people named Darius. Yeah, we got more receipts on there. Just hold tight. Stay with this whole video. But here we can see clearly it has both his first and last name. And this is, you know, his, that's his little thumbnail for, or avatar. What do you call those things? Avatar, whatever, for, that was Twitter. And so, yeah, that's him. So this is actually one of, see, 9 years ago, this is one of the customers of the Fresh Go. And this was, I don't even think this was this might've been the same thread I was reading back in the day, but I don't remember. It says, do not support. This guy owns Fresh Go and he initiated hundreds of fraudulent charges on people's credit cards. He's a thief. He charged mine $98.32 twice. Yeah. Yep. I remember this. Had to get the bank to reverse twice. No one can find him. He doesn't answer his phones or emails. And that's a pattern with him. And it started back then. And I think because he was able to get away with it, he's continued that pattern. It's kind of worked for him, where when he has a disgruntled customer, client, or whatever, what he does, the first thing he does is blocks them. And then he ignores them. Usually now it's just easier because usually people don't have his personal information like cell phones and stuff. So he blocks them on every platform and then, you know, makes up a narrative that they're somehow the issue and then sends the beehive after them because they believe everything he says because he's never wrong. And that's the part that gets me. Like, somebody's like never wrong. Like, would you start questioning like, you ain't never wrong? Like, you ain't had no part to play in none of these situations. And this was interesting too, because what I have been saying for the long, like recently, I'm like, I know it was a whole lot of people, but I couldn't remember the exact amount. So I was hesitant to say hundreds of people just for this one particular scam. But yeah, hundreds, obviously, because this was 9 years ago. So this person would have been more, it was fresh. They knew about it. And there were a lot of people. And then another person complained that they too got caught up in the Fresh Go whirlwind and lost money dealing with Darius. Then Kitchenista, this is a tweet from Kitchenista, who again is always providing the receipts. Like, follow her if you're on Twitter. You would, I mean, she does other things, but this is, you know, this is part of some of the stuff she posts. Oh, and this was when he was on the Kev on Stage. He was on Kev on Stage's show. I think the name of it was Ask a Millionaire on the Kev on Stage show. And so Darius was on there and he was talking about basically how he became a millionaire by the age of 30, because that was like something he was determined to do. He had a blog about it and everything. What I didn't realize at that time was that he wanted to become a millionaire at all costs, like destroying relationships, scamming people, whatever it took, allegedly. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I think I have to. I don't think I have to. But anyway, I'm only saying that because you're supposed to say allegedly until you go to jail or court or something, or until he's convicted. So allegedly. But yeah, allegedly, yeah, he was just doing anything. And that I did not know. I don't know. It comes from I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get any of these answers. Besides, you know, the scams, we're getting all the answers for that. But like just his thinking behind all this, like what's really going on in his brain of this guy who had so much potential and so many people loved him. I mean, people still love him, don't get me wrong, but some of us original people that loved him that he scammed. Okay, so yeah, so this is what Kitchenista is talking to. I said all that to say what Kitchenista is referring to in this particular tweet, because I cut it off, part of it off, is that she's saying in that video, her favorite part of the clip was when the host mentions bankruptcy, that they have been through bankruptcy, one of the co-hosts. And she wondered why Darius Crooks didn't include that part in his journey of his own story, because he has filed for bankruptcy. I think they said 2 times. Yeah, I think it's 2 times that he's filed for bankruptcy. He never tells that part of his story. And it happens to people. It's life. So if you're talking about your path to, you know, to becoming a millionaire, share that part too. It might encourage somebody. But he hides that piece of it because it kind of explains some of the other stuff and connects some pieces about, you know, some of the stuff he's done. So he leaves that part out conveniently. Okay, what's next? Okay, so here's another tweet. It says, shared anonymously. So this is, you know, one of the tipsters. People send us stuff. This is somebody who sent something to Kitchenista and they wanted to remain anonymous. It says, this is from one of the victims of the hashtag Darius Crooks scam, who was in his 20s when he invested in the cupcake business. It says the grocery service he mentions here was Fresh Go. We're keeping track, right? This is still circa 2010 Chicago. Yeah. So you can see the article. I mean, if you can see this by freezing, if you can see this by pausing, fine, you can read it. I'm not going to do that in this video, but you can also see it in the article that I'll have linked below. But yeah, so that's a person who was an investor in the Cupcake Gallery, which was the first physical brick and mortar store that Darius ever opened. Yeah, and he got investors for that. That's a whole nother thing. Some stories about that too. Anyway, we'll cover it all. What's next? Oh, so now we're back to this, jumping around just a little bit because they put in some proof that Darius did in fact own Fresh to Go or Fresh Go or Fresh Go Now, the various names he had, I guess, to, you know, make these various unauthorized charges to people's accounts or whatever. Anyway, now we're back to, you know, talking to Sonny and him about, you know, the breakdown of their situation or beef or whatever you want to call it. I don't think I personally don't consider it a beef. I consider it her cutting ties with him and him acting like he don't know why. Okay, he says, she blocked me, he said about Anderson. I never to this day blocked Sonny Anderson. I follow people like Sonny and still look up to her to a degree, but look up to people like Sonny Anderson because these are the people who are blazing the trails for people like me to come behind. So I looked up to her. I followed her on Instagram and on Twitter at first. She got on Instagram later and I was able to see all her posts with no problems, William explained. Then one day I go to look at her Instagram and we hadn't talked. We had no conversation and she has me blocked. Rightfully so, if you ask me. Like, you surprised? Okay, then we get into the beef with Kitchenista. So Angela Davis, aka the Kitchenista, has a long history of online beef with Williams that she says has culminated with her receiving threats from his supporters just because she had a difference of opinion about his food. Although the two have never met, Davis has led the charge in amplifying the voices of people who she believes have been conned by Williams. She has shared a flood of reports from people who have stories to share about their experiences with Williams. Very true. She has, again, been the catalyst of this. Without her, this would not be happening. I guarantee you that. She had a large enough platform that when she said this, it got attention, and she kept going for 30 days straight of you know, people saying, you know, all kind of things, and like she was making it up and all that other stuff for, you know, people to feel safe enough to come out, and it's been on and popping since. Okay, what else? Okay, so we're almost done with this article. They're literally what we're looking at, 4 more after this, slides of this. Okay, so we have the Kitchenista said Williams profited off of her too and admitted he made $100,000 after their online beef, something Williams admit happened too. People not only follow Williams for food recipes, but for entrepreneurial and business advice. So he made a 20-minute video on how to profit off of a public beef that he was having with Kitchenista, sharing tidbits about ad revenue and brand revenue. He talked about how the Kitchenista is looking up his old videos and how to profit off of it. Yes, I saw that video. What he didn't say in this article, but actually, I guess since this article, what he's been doing is actually taking down his old videos, but it's too late. We already got all this stuff. We were on it. Okay, chestnut checkers. Okay, so, and then I used her name as a discount code for people to buy my cookbooks, sort of a retaliation for her coming for me. Williams admit that he made upwards of $110,000 from it. Yes, yeah, he did that video and broke that down. And so he made a profit off of that. And so the Kitchenista said that is the exact type of bullying behavior that Williams is accustomed to and comfortable and cavalier about. She says her brand is trademarked and he had no right to profit off of her intellectual property. Facts. Sounds like a lawsuit. Okay, and then we get to the other one, which is dining with Darius Cooks. So it goes on to say, Williams said he gave $64,000 in refunds in 2020, I think is what this is saying. When people say you don't give refunds, I don't know where the rumors are coming from, because all my people who I live with every day on Instagram say, yeah, he took care of me and I'm straight. So what he's not saying, there's a tactic to this when you're like, you know, scamming people and stuff. What he's not saying is those people who do complain, he blocks them. So any scammer, especially on a larger scale, always complies to a degree, like a certain small percentage. They will back up, they will provide the services, they will provide the goods. In this case, provide a few refunds, maybe 10, 20 refunds out of 2, 3, 400. Because then there is a level of benefit of doubt built in when those people who actually did get their refunds are saying, hey, I got my refund. The other piece of this is from the previous cancellation of a tour due to mental health. I forgot what year that was. It was like, I want to say 2 years or so ago, where he canceled due to his mental health. A bunch of them. Also, the vendor that was pretty much the payment agent or whatever will also refund because their business name is at stake, even if he hasn't. So that has also occurred. So I don't know if some of these people who are saying, whether he's claiming or saying that they got their money back, they may be thinking they got their money back from him, but they may have actually gotten it back from the entity he used as a means to collect the money. So whether it's Eventbrite or, you know, any other kind of payment system. So yeah, that's the other piece, but that's all part of the scamming. It's because people get, you know, smoke and mirrors. You're like, well, I got my money back. I don't understand what the problem is. Yeah, you might have got it from a different company, not him. And he may still owe them, the company, money. Stay tuned. All right. Then we got, this is the last slide. It says, there are a number of claims from business partners like Vell, Williams' ex and former friend, who says he lost money going into a food truck partnership with him. He has now started a hotline for Darius Williams survivors. Yes, that is me. That is what I did. It says, no more protecting predators of our community and Black women. And then I have the number. And if you know anything about this, if you have any experiences, etc., you know anyone, you can use our VIP text line, which is confidential. Nobody else will know that you're texting. Yeah, you can connect with me and then we can take it from there if you have any information or any experiences with this situation. Yeah, because it's a lot. Okay, so as we normally do, so this is a very long video. We're gonna see what happens. This is too long. Okay, so what I was originally gonna do, and I'm not gonna do it in this video now because it's way too long. So that was the article, and there's some comments, and I was gonna do that because that's usually what we do when we go through these things. But that article was so long and in depth that I think we have done enough taking these off. Can't just wear my glass. Like they're only for reading and driving. But yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot to process. I know. Like I said, it took me days. It took me a while to read it, all that stuff, because it was a lot. It was emotionally a lot. So that's all for this video. I don't even know how to sum that up. All I can say is that this is the beginning. So that's like a summary, but it's honestly, it's a summary of a portion of this. It's not even a summary of the whole thing. This is gonna be huge. This is like probably it's gonna be one of the top 10 social media scandals ever by the time it's done. And we have more videos to come for sure. Yes, I'm wrapping my mind around it. Things that happen, but I'm actually a little glad that things didn't happen the way I kind of planned at first, because the truth is I now have way more information in some of these situations than I had originally when I was going to kind of put things out there. So it's going to be even more meat to everything and more understanding, like clarity on what this really looks like and what this really is. So until then, with that, if you're new to this channel and you lasted this long, because this is going to be a long ass video, Jesus. I think I want to get the information out there, so I'm gonna keep it long, but thank you for hanging. And if you did that, that means that there's no way you shouldn't be subscribing at this point, because you enjoyed something on some level. I have no idea if it was the story, if it was my rambling, whatever it was, you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button below and click that notification bell so that you be made aware of when I post new videos. And also, whether you are new or whether you are returning and unsubscribed, or whether you are already a part of the ELV family, please remember to like this video below because it helps our channel grow. I like that. Like this video below because it helps our channel grow. And lastly, before I let you guys go, because I've been holding you forever, Join our EOV VIP text community where we interact with each other. I send you messages. I give you behind the scenes, kind of tell you about my life a little bit. We're building a community over there. You also will receive text notifications of when I upload new videos because we can't rely on YouTube for that. We'll also be having special incentives over there for the VIPs. And you are also, as a VIP, have the ability to recommend topics to me for videos. I'm actually working on 2 that were recommendations now, and they will be out this week. So yeah, those are some of the benefits of being a part of the VIP. And then we have some, I got some future plans and stuff, but I ain't giving it all to y'all, So, but anyway, with that, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you, especially if you dealt with this long video. But with that, until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.